Hey everyone, this is Perch. Well, we have some news come out from DC around new titles that are launching in March. So we have about, let's see, one, two, six, seven, eight. I think we have 8 books that we now know are coming in March as new ongoing series for DC. And there's an interesting trend with all these books, but let's get to that in a minute. First, let's get to the new announcements. First off, we have a new Green Lantern book. Green Lantern will be written by Jeffrey Thorne and drawn by Tom Rainey. That's the same team that's doing the Last Lantern's Future State arc, and this is intending, from what I've heard, to feature a number of the Green Lantern Corps, and probably feature John Stewart somewhat prominently. The second book that was announced is Justice League Dark, and that is a return of a book. And this is written by Ram V, who's been writing the series Justice League Dark, so it's a carryover with seemingly the same creative team, roughly, Gerangio, and it's, from what I understand, it's supposed to just pick up from where it left off. What I don't know is if it's relaunching with a new #1 or not. Green Lantern will launch with a new #1. Justice League Dark may or may not. I'm gonna guess not, but that's a complete guess at this point. The third title that was announced, the new Yara Fleur title, which is by Jolie Jones, which we had heard about already. This book is called Wonder Girl, and it's going to basically continue the adventures of Yara Fleur, but this time younger, of course, because she's younger than her Future State iteration, and we're going to see where that's concerned. We also had the announcement of a Future State Teen Titans Academy. And this book is intended to, it sounds very similar to Avengers Academy in that it's, some former members of the Titans will launch a Teen Titans Academy for kind of new heroes and new kind of characters coming up. There's a lot of speculation that Red X will make his debut inside of this. The creative team of Tim Sheridan and Rafa Sandoval will launch this book. You will notice they are also a team from Future State as well. So we were told that Future State creators were not going to be the creators that were moving over into the new ongoing series in March, but so far they all are very similar, including the next book that was announced, which is Suicide Squad. And that is being put together, pardon me, by Robbie Thompson, who is joined by Eduardo Panskia, and Robbie Thompson wrote the Suicide Future State book. This new Suicide Squad is heavily featuring Peacemaker. There's also looks like Talon from Court of Owls and a handful of other characters in there, but Peacemaker is front and center. And then the last book that was announced was Swamp Thing, and that is being done by Ram V and Mike Perkins, the second Ram V book that is being announced in this set for this March relaunch. And this is going to lean heavily into the horror aspect. It's expected to have a very similar feel to Justice League Dark. Now, in addition to those books, so just to recap, we got Swamp Thing, we got Suicide Squad, we got Teen Titans Academy, we have Green Lantern. We have the Wonder Girl comic, and we have Justice League Dark. All have been announced. And in addition to that, we also have the news that James Tynion and Jorge Jimenez is going to continue on the ongoing Batman title, and that there's a second Tynion Batman title that's not named yet with Julian March is on that. So basically, if we're just counting here, we've got, let's see, we got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 titles that we know of coming out in March from DC, and that's some big news of some titles that are finally coming out, and we can look forward to. Now, one thing that you should take note of here is that all of these titles have a connection to Warner Media. All of them have either a tie-in to a TV show or a movie or a prequel on HBO Max or a cartoon or something, all of them. And I think that is definitely an indication of how we should look at this stuff going forward. You've got new series. They're very tightly aligned with their efforts in movies and streaming and shows. And that's just the world we're going to live in right now. That cuts both ways. On the good side, that means that there's going to be a little bit more emphasis, a little bit more importance to these comics because they are tied into bigger budget movie eras. They're going to be creating IP that's meant to be translated over. So there's going to be a little bit more control, a little bit more, careful eye on it. I believe this is something I predicted, by the way, months and months ago. But the other direction it could go is if all this fails, if the shows are terrible, if HBO Max topples, then it's going to pull the comics with it. So you can kind of take this as a good news, bad news thing, whichever level of the glass you want filled up, that's where we are. But we do have quite a few books. 8 books announced in March, and it's expected that we will see more. DC is doing an event down at an expo down in Brazil right now. You should check that out because they're going to be announcing some more new titles and new creative teams tomorrow. But depending on when this video, well, I don't know when I'm going to put this out. Let's assume this is Friday, and Saturday there's going to be some more announcements. Anyway, there you go. So I hope this is useful to you. And hey, if you don't mind, give it a like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. And thanks for listening.